that have lots of...
They pop up when you need them most. When you're like, I need a thumb drive, and then it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I remember this thumb drive.
Takes you back.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Awesome Hardware. This is a live show. We talk about technology, computers, but otherwise as well. We drink some beer. Occasionally we use foul language, so close your ears or hide the kids and loved ones and all that kind of thing. We split the show in two halves, so you're watching the first half of episode 143 right now. 143.
But wasn't last week 144?
Yeah, we accidentally did episode 144 last week, so we have flipped this week to do 143. It's kind of like we went back in time, but not exactly. So that's how that
In other words, you're getting your tech news today from two guys who don't know how to count.
Yeah, pretty much.
More or less.
Wow, that's fairly choppy on
Oh, hey, yeah.
on YouTube there.
I was gonna say it looks really good, but maybe it looks too good.
It looks clean. The chop is real though.
Right.
The chop is
maybe,
absolutely
is
for
the
real.
bit rate like through the roof? Maybe is that why it looks clean but it's choppy?
It's the same bit rate. So I don't know what to do about that.
We are connected Ethernet. Yeah, that looks good. Go away, Windows. I always like saying pick a time to do the updates, and then I close it.
Tell it never.
And I close it immediately.
Okay.
There is no never option.
Wouldn't
that be nice?
It's only choppy when we talk.
Okay, we'll have an episode of silence.
All right.
Just once, just this once, to appease the internet gods.
Oh, you can't change on the fly. All right.
Why is it so
give us
choppy?
just a sec, guys. We'll be right back.
Why is the jobbing?
There it goes. All right. Sorry about that, Twitch viewers and anyone who's watching.
Still choppy.
Still choppy.
What did you change?
I just upped the bit rate from it was in the 5,000 range. I upped it to 7,000.
Oh.
Is it possible that it's just the internet right now, or?
It's never done this.
Yeah, we've never had quite this much trouble.
If it is the internet, it's definitely not. It's definitely an outlier.
Yeah.
Today's episode, we'll be showing you how to troubleshoot an internet problem.
Yep. On the fly.
Slow internet. Does it exist?
All right.
Yes.
Let's try this then. I'm gonna try one more thing, guys. We'll be right back.
I don't think it's the internet. I think it something to do with our settings. Somehow.
It's possible. Okay.
How many?
I'll give that a.
How much memory do I have there? Got 16 gigs. Should be fine. Our CPU's pretty high.
Maybe it's just the CPU.
It could be. I think I still have like a Core i5 in there.
This is an i5 6500.
Yeah.
Which only has 4 cores.
Right. No hyperthreading.
With no hyperthreading. So it's entirely possible
that going from 30 to 60 FPS takes it over the edge.
That fixed it. So absolutely.
Yeah.
YouTube is much smoother now.
It's got to be the CPU.
So
all right. Look forward to a streaming PC upgrade on my channel coming soon.
It's a reason to build
out of
a new computer.
Sheer necessity.
Okay. So
figured it out. I guess.
Welcome everyone to Awesome Hardware.
Yeah, hey.
I kind of did the intro already. I'm not sure what the beginning of this video is going to look like, but looking at our stream now, it does seem like we've fixed the main problem. In case you're wondering what the problem is, the system that we're streaming on is an i5 6500, which is a quad core without hyperthreading, and it does seem like we're hitting the upper range of what that CPU is capable of when it comes to dual streaming at the same time to both Twitch and YouTube. So. We've dropped to 30 frames per second, and we've lowered the bitrate a bit, and it does seem like we've smoothed things out.
I'm kind of excited because I've been looking for a reason to upgrade that system. It's probably had the same specs since, I don't know, 2 years or something like that. I've just never needed to upgrade it until now.
So and I mean, we've only just recently got the
fine.
ripsaw, so we've only just recently started attempting to stream at 60 frames per second.
Right.
So there you go. All right, well...
Mo frames, mo problems. As good old Biggie would
upgraded
say.
streaming system for Kyle coming soon. In the meantime, I can finally pour my beer. I've been waiting to pour my beer.
What are you drinking today, Paul?
I'm drinking this lovely beer that Wifey Sauce went and picked up for...
She certainly did.
For me. She also... Oh, Jesus!
Oh, what the... Fuck!
Sweet mother of mercy.
Oh my jeez. Oh god. Okay. Oh my god.
Oh.
Okay,
Wow.
why?
It's okay.
Why do I have the worst luck with bottles on this stream?
This is the smoothest beginning of the show that we've ever had.
Oh my
Wow.
god, it just
It's
won't
still
stop.
coming out. Kyle's holding the beer over the trash
What
can,
the actual fuck?
sort of sipping off the top a little bit.
You already gave the foul language warning, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good.
Oh, that's sour.
Just give me a sec.
That is a sour.
It is a sour.
My God.
It didn't spoil. It's supposed to taste that way.
Oh, good. Paper towels.
It's so delicious, but it's everywhere.
Very handy, Kyle. Very, very handy to have the paper towels ready to go.
Yep.
Um,
This ain't my first rodeo, Paul.
let me get a few of those. Okay.
Oh, good look. I didn't even shake the bottle or anything.
Now, this is actually completely intentional.
Yeah.
Meant to give us a smooth and easy segue over to talking about our stuff that we sell. Like, for instance, this mouse mat that Kyle's using right now, demonstrating its efficacy in absorbing liquid, which it did with ease. And I'm sure we'll have a lovely scent of whatever sour beer Kyle is drinking for the near future. So, if I'm assuming you're really impressed with our live show so far, so feel free to order some gear.
Oh god, it's everywhere!
My store is paulshardware.net. Shirts, mugs, pint glasses, other useful things. Bottle opener. Actually, the bottle opener sold out. Got to order. I guess we got to order some more bottle openers. Sorry, no bottle openers, but you can get the beer set still. Anyway, check that out. Order stuff. Kyle over on Kyle's store has new shirts made for really skinny people. It seems. Why are these shirts so skinny?
I don't know. That's John.
It's a very skinny shirt.
But look, it's a brand new design on my store. Never before seen.
It's an evil keyboard and mouse attacking this poor defenseless gamepad.
Yep.
Very sad.
This is the this shall be known as the Rip gamepad shirt.
Ah, the rip.
The Rip gamepad design. This is actually designed by our good friend Tina, who used to work with us at Newegg back in the day. I might have shown you guys an early version or an early mock-up of this design, which looked totally different. And then Tina and I worked on it for quite a while after that, and I think we're both really happy with how it turned out. So if you guys would like to support the channel and you like the design, feel free to buy a shirt.
There it is.
High quality stuff.
If you buy stuff from us, we will shout your name out at the end of the show, and it's ever so much fun.
Yes.
I never said which beer I'm drinking. This is from Clown Shoes Brewery, which makes a wide variety of very, very good beer. Oh my God, this is 11.5%.
Sorry.
What are you trying to do?
Heather bought it. Wifey, you can thank Wifey Sauce for that.
This is a Russian Imperial Stout, and Heather's apparently trying to kill me. This is the Blakecorn Unidragon Russian Imperial Stout. The image on here, you guys probably can't see. It's going to be out of focus.
I've had that one before. It's really good.
It's quite good, and it's got a cool picture and a cool name.
I'm drinking a Broken Wand, which is an American dark sour ale, oak fodder aged with raspberries from Magic Factory Council Brewing, or San Diego, yeah. Magic Factory Council Brewing. And it's really good, which makes it a damn shame that I wasted half of it on my desk floor and mouse pad, which you can also pick up from the store. These are not beer proof, clearly. Thank you for the demo, Kyle. But yes, cheers to all of you drinking with us or not.
Oh, and we're drinking out of Kyle's glasses finally. Yeah. These are the glasses available on Kyle's store.
Hashtag ad.
It's a Bitwood logo.
Oh, that's really good.
Tasty. All right.
Really good.
We are done pimping our products. Is this mouse? This mouse. Longer. All right. So let's move on to the first segment, which is going to be news for me. This is the news Nvidia GTC edition, because Nvidia this week is hosting GTC, the GeForce Technology Conference, not to be confused with GDC, the Game Developers Conference, which happened last week. Was that last week?
A week or two.
It was a week and a half ago. There was a keynote earlier today. Shenzhen went up and talked in front of a bunch of people, gave some demos. Long story short, no mention of any new graphics cards coming out from Nvidia, at least consumer side graphics cards. So the rumors of like, oh, Nvidia's gonna, I mean, who knows, maybe they still could later in the conference or something, but pretty much probably not gonna happen. So rumors of like a 2000 series or whatever being announced or confirmed here seem to have not materialized. On top of that, at least in the keynote, there was also no discussion around GPP, the GeForce Partner Program, that we've talked about a little bit on the show for the past couple weeks, and there's also been lots of discussion about online. A bit controversial. Not going to go into it right now, but if you want to check out last week's show, we did discuss that a little bit. They also didn't discuss GPU shortages at all, and the difficulty in buying a graphics card for your typical gamer right now, which kind of sucks. More on that later in my half, though. Jensen did mention at one point that the Titan V was sold out, so they're very proud that their $3,000 Volta-based graphics card is actually able to sell, because anything that can mine worth a damn right now will sell, apparently, but maybe not forever. First off, though, the big announcements, the big actual graphics card that they're launching is Big Volta coming over to Quadro. So this is the Quadro GV100, and it's based around the V100, which is the big Volta GPU, which has only recently been available in the Titan V, as well as some Tesla cards, the Tesla V100. Tesla V100 is a very expensive card. It's about $8,000. And that's been out for a little bit. But the announcement was not just that they're taking that V100 and making a Quadro out of it, the Quadro GV100, but also that all of the V100 based GPUs are doubling their HBM2 memory stack. So prior to now, the Tesla was available with 16 gigs of HBM2 memory. Now they're doubling that to 32. Since HBM is integrated onto the substrate with the GPU and everything, they have to manufacture that all together. So it's not like they can, I mean, Nvidia manufactures all these anyway, but it's not like they could offer a third-party GPU integrator the option to change up the amount of memory that's available or something like that. So
I thought we were having a hard time getting HBM2 yields.
Apparently they fixed that.
And now 32 gigs on a single card. We'll never
like last year, the discussion as we were waiting for HBM to become more readily available, and like the Vega launch and everything's like, oh, maybe they'll ramp up HBM production, and then everyone just stopped caring because it was like, just let us buy a graphics card. And I guess in the meantime they have done something with their HBM2 production, that or this is just the class of card that ships in a much lower volume than your typical,
there will be two
gaming grade graphics cards. So maybe there's fewer of them, or maybe something in between. But the core GPU at the heart of this is the same 12 nanometer V100 Volta GPU as in that $8,000 Tesla V100. So it's still got 5,120 CUDA cores, 640 Tensor cores, 320 texture units, 128 ROPS, 1,450 megahertz is the boost clock. But increasing that memory stack allows a lot more, it makes it a lot more capable of handling the types of data workloads that you might actually do on these cards. Simulations that use lots of video memory, basically. I don't want to expand on that because I might get something wrong. The memory, though, the memory stack is 32 gigs of 4,096-bit, 1.7 gigabit per second HBM2 video memory, full ECC, error correcting, which is very important when you're doing this type of thing. Crazy amounts of raw horsepower, 7.4 teraflops double precision, 14.8 teraflops single precision, 250 watt TDP, so no change there really. And if you guys want some more details, the AnandTech article going over this is linked in the video's description. This is, for now, the only Quadro card that's using the Volta architecture. That means it's the only card to support hardware ray tracing acceleration. And we did talk about ray tracing stuff on Kyle's half of the show last week, so I'm not going to go into that again right now. Again, there's more on that in the article if you want to read up on it. And that supports NVIDIA's new RTX technology, which was also discussed today. And at the very end, they didn't, at the event, say what the price was going to be, but that apparently has been made public. $9,000.
Oh.
$9,000, yes.
So it's not 8, it's 9.
Yeah, so, well, no. The Tesla, the
Tesla V100.
The Tesla V100 sells for $8,000. I think it still sells for $8,000.
Gotcha.
I don't know if the new Tesla V100, I don't know if the new Tesla V100 cards that have double the amount of memory are still going to sell for $8,000.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about that, but
I see. That's still
sure more details
a
will
ton of money.
are forthcoming. But yeah,
Whew.
still a lot of money. Speaking of lots of money, how about you want a bunch of those all built together in a system for you by Nvidia and call it the DGX2 and sell it for $400,000.
And also call it a graphics card.
$400,000.
That's
yeah, it's not a graphics card. This is I don't know who was thinking this is a graphics card. It is not. I made a joke about this on Twitter earlier. I said we've found out that the DGX2 immediately sold out and is now available on eBay for $800,000. So I thought that was a funny joke, right? Because that's what happens with the graphics cards.
Yep.
Some people thought I was. I think some people thought I was serious.
I think WCCF Tech picked it up as an article.
Did they?
No.
This has been announced. But anyway,
speculation, guys.
the box, the unit itself was shown up on stage. I mean, it's sizable, but fairly small when you consider the actual amount of power that's involved here. Bear in mind, the only basis for comparison that we have here really to discuss is the DGX1 from last year, which was $150,000. And actually, when you look at the raw performance, depending on what you're doing with it, of course, it scales in a somewhat linear fashion. So it's not like I was watching some discussion on Twitter earlier from people who are smarter than me and the Anantech guys basically. And I think Ryan said it's basically the same amount of raw performance, but depending on whether you're doing something that's easily split up across a couple nodes or multiple nodes, or something that you need to be handled on one machine, may make like a couple DGX1s or a single DGX2 more or less viable for you. And I'm sure all of you guys out there are right on the verge of placing your order. So total compute performance was 1,920 teraflops. That's tensor processing, which is more specific, so not universal across all GPU compute applications, but 480 teraflops of floating point 16 performance, 240 teraflops of FP32 performance. In the box are 16 Tesla V100 GPUs. The DGX1 had 8, so double the number of GPUs. You get 1.5 terabytes of system RAM. The original DGX1 only had half a terabyte, so you get 3 times the amount of system RAM, which is nice. 30 terabytes of NVMe storage. DGX1 had 8 terabytes, and you get a pair of Xeon Platinum CPUs, which are extremely expensive in their own right. All this is made possible by NVIDIA's NVSwitch technology, which enables 300 gigabytes per second chip-to-chip communication. That's 12 times the throughput of PCI Express. They pair that with NVLink 2 that enables all 16 GPUs to be grouped together in a single system for a total bandwidth going beyond 14 terabytes per second, which is insane. These are all numbers that if you don't look at numbers of like, a server-grade hardware and what it's capable of, might not make that much sense to you, but these are all pretty impressive numbers. Granted, they're paired with a very expensive price tag, so you get what you pay for. But this is being touted by NVIDIA as a 2 petaflop capable system via the 81,920 CUDA cores that are integrated across all those GPUs and 10,240 tensor processing cores. It's going to use 10 kilowatts of power while it's in operation, and the whole system weighs 350 pounds.
Can you mine with it?
It's heavy. Of course you can mine with it. You can mine with just about...
You can mine with hard drives, we learned recently from Linus's video.
Oh yeah, mine with hard drives.
So I guess you could mine with this too.
Yeah, so there's an article from Tech Power Up linked in the description if you guys want a little bit more information on that.
Would take you a while to break even though.
Everyone should buy at least 3. Buy 3 or 4.
All right. But can it run Crysis? Chat asks.
Now,
good question.
Already mentioned there were no consumer-grade graphics announcements, so kind of disappointed there. But I guess as kind of a consolation, they did a demo at the end of the keynote live stream that I thought was pretty cool. So I wanted to show you guys here. And this is, I don't know, I saw a tweet from Nvidia Drive, which is their
automotive
driving and automotive stuff. They called this the Project Wakanda, which is like Black Panther. I'm not sure if that's an official name for it or anything, but Jensen was trying to explain what was going on while he was on stage, and I was sitting there, and probably lots of people were like, anyone who's seen Black Panther has seen this happen just recently. Because in Black Panther, when oh gosh, I forget her name.
You're not giving us any spoilers right now, are you?
No, but they have a remote driving capability. There's a technology where it creates this synthesized seat, and she sits down, and then it creates a thing around her, and suddenly she's sitting in a car, but the car is on the other side of the world. They have this fancy thing they just throw in the car that suddenly turns it into an autonomous remote-controlled vehicle. Nvidia still needs to get on top of working on that technology. But for now, and this is actual, not not part of a movie or something like that, they did a live demo of this NVIDIA Drive or Project Wakanda, or also referred to as the holodeck, because what you're seeing here is a virtualized holodeck. There's a car in the middle there, and that's a virtual thing. The images that you're seeing around the edges are being sent in from remote cameras that are actually installed in a car that's out near the facility where they're running this demo. So there's a real car, there's a virtual car in the VR environment, and there's a dude with an Oculus Rift and a setup here doing the VR. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so he sees as if he's in the virtual VR environments. What he is seeing is the cameras and everything on the car that is actually looking at the everything around it, and he is able to remotely control this car and drive it as if he's
That's really cool.
And that was pretty cool. Now, granted, he drives like a grandma through a parking lot and then parks.
I would too. Shit.
In a parking space. But
I don't blame the guy.
Where'd it go?
Liability
waiting
to happen.
So there it is. So he drives very slowly, but you can see a shot from inside the car of the car turning the wheel and everything. You can see his view. I guess not a very good capture of his view or whatever, but yeah.
The world is tearing.
And he parks, and no one was killed. So
thank goodness.
That's the good news. Anyway, so given how often Nvidia goes and talks about their autonomous driving stuff at their keynotes and everything, and it's like I'm always torn about it because I know this is future technology and it's going to happen and it's going to be everywhere, and I can see why Nvidia is investing so much time and resources into it, but it's still less exciting for me most of the time than like a new graphics card or something.
True.
But seeing an implementation of it like this was pretty sweet. And yeah, Project Wakanda. All right.
Sweet.
That's the end of my first segment. Next up, we're gonna do sword fight. I don't have a lower thirds for sword fight. Hold on, I can fix that. Where'd it go? Sword. QR. Damn it. There it is. Okay, sword fight.
Sword fight.
Sword fight.
I feel like we haven't done one of these.
We haven't done sword fight in a while, but I needed something.
Glad it's back.
I needed something topical and controversial for us to discuss. So we're gonna discuss something somewhat weighty here.
Ooh.
Vaguely. Depends how seriously you take yourself, I guess.
Cake or pie, right? Am I right?
Almost. Facebook. You guys have probably read of some of the Facebook news just recently, and yes, this does reach into a broader territory that we don't usually delve into on the show. So we're not really going to dive into the Facebook and its potential effect on global geopolitical landscape or anything like that, although that's definitely worth discussing. But the stuff from Facebook just over the past weekend, and this I believe was broke by ARS Technica, and the article's linked in the description, is people have gotten into deleting Facebook lately. They're like, I don't like what they're doing. I don't like the tracking that's being done with me. I don't like all this stuff, and whenever I go on Facebook, I just get depressed anyway, so I don't want to do it. So people have been using the various tools that Facebook makes available to pull their data off of it because, people have pictures and whatever, and they want to save that for the future. Turns out when you go and pull your Facebook data, there's a lot of stuff in there. Facebook tracks you in many, many different ways, including tracking your actual phone call and SMS data on your phone. Like if you're an Android user and you have the Facebook app installed, it just, there might be permissions that are available to, disable this, but basically all of your call logs are there. And you might think to yourself, you know what? No one besides my phone and my wireless provider should have access to this. How come Facebook seems like they're They should have access to hoover it up and everything. There have been varying responses to this. I guess Zuckerberg recently said, like, oh, well, if it was in the fine print, like, that's what people signed up for. Like, they gave us permission, buried there in all that text that everyone surely reads or whatever. But anyway, the larger question here that we're going to discuss, and we can post this in chat and everything for you guys to argue over as well, is what's the solution to this? Obviously, this is an issue to some degree, depending on who you are and what's been done to you. But how do we solve this? That's what we're all about, is bringing you solutions and solving problems. Thank you, Sel, by the way, for being here and modding for us and posting links in the description. It's really cool. So Kyle and I are going to take a couple opposing sides here. We'll argue about it. Feel free to vote yourself. You can vote now, or you can wait until you hear our arguments to sway your opinion. What's the solution? We have a couple fundamental, like, political stances here. We got the government regulation, right? The government needs to go in there. The government needs to tell these companies, you can't do that. What you can and cannot do. Force them, because they're not going to do it themselves. It's already been proven. Or, got the free market option for you libertarians out there, because, you know, consumers, right? Facebook is only going to make money as long as people are using it. People are going to get pissed off because they found out about Facebook doing shady stuff. You're going to stop using Facebook. Facebook doesn't make money. We all go back to MySpace or Friendster, some other alternative social media platform. We also have the option, of course, to just stop using social media completely. Should also probably cut off internet use. Move to a cabin in the woods.
Become Amish.
Somewhere. Off-grid. Get one of those tiny houses. My wife keeps watching shows about.
Pee in a hole in the ground.
Yep. Get a mulch pile going, and
have 30 kids.
Well, that's inefficient.
Oh.
Because you gotta.
You need a big
Although I
house.
guess you gotta have someone to work the plow.
That's true.
And then of course we got the option 4, which is everything's fine. Nothing's wrong here. Everything's going
just peachy.
Just groovy. I'm happy with my Facebook overlords. What do you think, Kyle? You get to go first.
Oh God, the options.
I know.
They're all so good. I wish I could choose them all. Jeez, man.
Made it hard.
Okay. I'm gonna say the only option is to stop using social media completely. Probably the internet too. Who needs it? We were surviving just fine. We were doing just fine before the internet came around. And now that it's here, everyone's unhappy. Everyone's miserable. Internet ruined everything. Yeah, it's how you and I get to make a living, which is awesome, and provide for our families. But you know what? If the internet wasn't around, we're humans. We adapt. I would work at a grocery store, and I would, you know, and you'd probably be a stripper. I don't know. Okay, I can't say for sure what I'm only 99% sure of. But
can't go back to that life.
You did it once, you'll do it again, Paul. As long as the price is right. So I just don't, you know, social media. I feel like, you know, this can go on forever. Like, one of the reasons why everyone's always saying, like, you know how everyone's always saying, like, you know, like 15 years ago, 10 years ago even, nobody was as sensitive as they are now. Like, people just get triggered so easily. And my thinking every time I hear that.
Triggered? You just said triggered? Why are you using the word triggered? Pisses me off, dude.
Thank you
for
for proving my
out
point,
there,
Paul.
like, come on.
This is a great alley-oop here.
I hate you now.
So my theory is that everyone's always been this triggered. They just now have the means to communicate it to the world.
That's very pessimistic.
Completely anonymously. Everyone's always been this sensitive and this much of a bitch. They just now have the power in their hands to tell everyone about it because everyone cares so much about what you think. And you know what? It's a lot of noise. There have been times where I've been like, you know what? I'm going to delete my Twitter account. Like, literally, legitimately been like, who needs it? I'm totally fine without it. And I think it's never going to be a perfect solution. Like, the internet is always going to cause problems like this of privacy, and you know, different rights and things like that. So I think we should just do away with it, Paul. Just do away with it altogether, because we were just fine without it. It's causing more problems than it's solving.
Okay. A fine argument made there for your choice, Kyle. I have 3 other options to choose from here, and I'm going to be perfectly honest. I mainly put all these up so I could see what you guys thought about this. So,
How manipulative.
I'm gonna go the then choose the fascist route and say government regulation. It's not really fascist, but the government. Obviously, Facebook is out of control. Twitter's out of control. Android's out of control. I meant to supplement my links today with a really interesting thread that I came across on Twitter of all of the stuff that Android does to follow you and all of the things that you can do to go into your Google account to see where you've been and what you've done and all the different things that Google has been watching you do and using for whatever purposes they might deem are legal enough to get away with. Who knows? But the point is here, these companies are going to keep doing this. They're going to take advantage of us. They set up this honeypot. Like, hey, look, we got Google Drive here, and you just go and use it for free. And like, anytime you got access to the internet, you can just see all your stuff, and it's right there. And Gmail's got really good security, and you know, you can create all these accounts in Google, and it's super handy. And you're like, wow, that's really convenient and easy to use, Google. Thank you. And then you use all their stuff, and then they turn around and stab you in the back. I don't have a specific example of Google doing that, but since they've sort of veered away from their don't be evil mentality and philosophy, I don't trust them anymore. Although I do use all that stuff. So, point being here, we need Uncle Sam to come in and do what he does best and tell us what to do. We need a nanny state. We need mother to come in and help us build the wall. I think is what. That's a Pink Floyd reference, by the way, not a. Just.
It's like, where is this coming from?
Yeah, you're right. I was that very easily could have been misconstrued about me talking about something else. Anyway, let's see what y'all think about this, and hopefully we have solved this problem now. Once we view the results.
That's what we do on the show: solve problems.
Results.
Solve world problems.
Click work. Wow, that's actually.
Wow, it's super close between those two answers.
And we wonder why this is a divisive time in our country.
Right.
Very close, but it looks like we have this slight edge for people wanting the warm embrace of their government to come and tell them everything's just fine.
Wow.
Don't
you guys
worry.
are a bunch of sheep.
Don't worry.
You sheeples. Open your eyes.
Now,
Big Brother's out to get you.
If I'm being honest, I think there's some balance. Like, I don't want to get too serious here. I don't want to get too serious here. But I find that when you do what we have just done and try to look at an argument from a binary perspective of like there are only two options for this. Granted, I put 4 options, so this is falling apart. But point being, I like balance. I think there's some level of regulation that would keep the companies honest and from doing shady stuff with our data. Because honestly, there's lots of really cool stuff that's done with big data. Like the fact that I leave my house without knowing where I'm going, then I just pull it up on a phone and that all of the other people traveling on the road can let me know how the traffic's going and all that kind of stuff. There's lots of very useful things to be done with big data, but there's also lots of ways that it can be taken advantage of and used in ways that are very manipulative, and we have to be very vigilant to make sure that that's not being done to us. And it's a constant thing. Like, it's never going to go away. We will always need to be on the lookout for that kind of thing. All right, let's move on.
Aye, aye.
Final segments on my half of the show, and I'm going to try to move through this relatively quickly, is Tech of the Day After Tomorrow. And because I like my lower thirds, I'm going to see if I have the lower thirds for this thing.
Do it.
Where'd it go? There it is. There it is. There
Hey!
I still haven't fixed this one.
Beautiful lower thirds.
You can eat the ice cream if you want. Yeah. All right. So we're talking about future technology, and full disclosure, a variety of the things I'm going to discuss here were taken from the Futurology subreddit, which is quite fascinating. There's a few others in there too. Speaking of the future, perhaps you should move over to using Mozilla Firefox. I have always used multiple browsers, and Firefox has been a mainstay for me for quite some time.
Indeed.
And if you're trying to avoid like the tracking and stuff like from your Google Android overlords, then maybe Chrome isn't the way you want to go. Granted, Chrome's a really good browser too. I don't want to make this about that, but Firefox, being very topical, has announced the Facebook Container extension. So if you still need to use Facebook, if you have people you would lose touch with if you didn't get on there, or if you have a business that you need to manage that has a Facebook page or something like that, you can use this extension with Firefox in order to containerize your Facebook login. Because what Facebook does is it looks at all the cookies from all the other different websites you've been to and tracks what you're doing to try to figure out who you are and what you're doing and what you need and what you like and what they can sell to you, basically. This containerizes your Facebook login so that as you are doing other stuff on the internet, Facebook isn't tracking it. You can still have your Facebook login, and you don't need to worry about that all the time and stuff. So seems like a useful extension.
Yeah.
Topical. Thought I'd point it out to you guys. Check it out on the Mozilla blog or the link in the description if you want some more information.
Sweet.
Next, a wristband that lets your brain control your computer with your thoughts. Now, thoughts isn't exactly, it's not exactly it. And I wish they had a better picture than this. This is the only picture we have. We're dealing with this picture. But, pardon me, more to the point. It's an electronic bracelet, right? And it's a new way, potentially, of interacting with your computer. All right, there's one more picture. Here's a picture down here. Everyone look at that picture. It's fascinating.
Why wouldn't they show him wearing the bracelet?
I don't know. It's a Scientific American article. They're big on the words. Lots of words in science, and less on the pictures.
They're not a photography website, clearly.
So there we go.
Okay.
But it's a wristband that picks up on really, really tiny muscle movements in order to give you a user interface. And there's going to be lots of potential applications for this. It's being developed by Control Labs, CTRL Labs, which is a startup which was launched by the creator of Microsoft Internet Explorer, Thomas Reardon, and partners, and they've demonstrated this new approach for brain-computer interface, because when we're interacting with a computer, there's the ways that we are familiar with doing it, typing in a keyboard, using a mouse, for example. There are newer ways that have been developed, but we haven't really seen anything that's taken over, so to speak, like in the way that a keyboard and mouse has, unless you switch over to perhaps the touch interface that we use on phones and tablets and that kind of thing. So, this wristband picks up on voltage bursts that result from muscle fibers in the arm when they contract. So it's not reading your mind or even detecting like your synapses firing or like your nerves. It's actually picking up on the muscle movement, but it's fine muscle movement, so there's a potential for that to allow you to have fine control over various things. The demo, as described in the article, basically described putting the wristband on and lifting the hand up and moving the hand around, and that was mimicked or imitated by the on-screen display. Now, this is basically showing software picking up the movement of the hand and picking that up from the wristband, but then that could be translated into, for example, if you had a prosthetic or something like that, controlling that. Now, from my understanding, and this is mainly from reading the article, prosthetics that have mechanical functions right now are typically actually controlled by muscle movements that actually would do something in the way of like pushing a button or that kind of thing. So this is different in the way that it picks up on the muscle movements in the same way that like an electrocardiogram would detect electrical potentials of contracting cardiac muscle. Yes, I read that. I know what an ECG is, electrocardiogram, but it's a different way than human interface devices have worked in the past. So that's pretty cool. And the fact that it's just a wristband means it's fairly non-intrusive and potentially maybe could be used on other parts of the body as well, if we're talking about interfaces that would use hands and feet or something like that. I'm not really sure. I just speculated on that right now. But the computer analyzes the electrical discharges from the arm and the hand muscles, uses them to calculate the motion and gripping force of the hand, and then the computer initiates the same movement with the virtual hand. And then, of course, you could port that over to a robotic hand or something like that if you wanted to. This is very unique in the case of prosthetics because if you are missing a limb, for example, you might still be able to control the fine muscle movements elsewhere on the limb, and that would give you very nice control over something like a prosthetic, which is pretty cool. The wearer of the wristbands can, in principle, dance your fingers in the air, or even like you could have them in your pocket, and if you knew the right movements, like if you like you could have specific movements that tied into like keyboard typing or something like that. And if you had them memorized, you could possibly just have your hands in your pockets, switch your fingers basically, and communicate or type something or that kind of thing. There's more examples in the article. Again, if you guys want to check it out, it's fairly interesting. Lots of words.
I could see this definitely being picked up by VR.
Yeah.
To some degree.
VR,
like,
perhaps?
being able to have like more granular control with your fingers and, you know, being able to pick objects up without needing a controller, really. I'm actually
like
using
full glove.
Yeah,
full
full glove or something like that.
So
Ready
that was
Player
pretty
One
cool.
is upon us.
Oh yeah,
It's happening.
comes out this weekend.
That too.
All right, moving on. Batteries. We all have phones and whatnot that use batteries, and battery life always sucks. So, researchers at the University of Texas at Dallas have developed a high-powered, environmentally safe lithium-sulfur substitute. Could drastically lengthen battery life. Lithium-sulfur batteries have long been considered an evolution from lithium-ion batteries. They're less expensive to make, they weigh less, they store almost twice the energy of lithium-ion batteries, and are better for the environment. But there's problems with them. For example, sulfur is a poor electrical conductor and can become unstable over several charge and recharge cycles. So the article, which is from phys.org, again linked in the description, talks about the potential options that they've had for overcoming that problem with lithium-sulfur batteries. The researcher who is quoted, who's Dr. KJ Cho. KJ Cho and her fellow researchers discovered that molybdenum, a metallic element that's often used to strengthen and harden steel, creates a material that adjusts the thickness of the coating when combined with 2 atoms of sulfur, a coating thinner than the silk of a spider web, and they found that it improved stability and compensated for the poor conductivity of the sulfur, thus allowing for greater power density and making lithium-sulfur batteries more commercially available. So I was hoping there would be some more specifics when it comes to like percentages or whatever, but yeah, this seems like kind of a work in progress thing, but cool that they're making progress on new battery technology, because we all want our cell phone batteries to last longer.
That's true.
All right, moving on. I thought this one was pretty cool. This is from quartz.com. This is the world's first negative emissions plant, which has begun turning carbon dioxide into stone. Yes. So, we humans produce 40 trillion kilograms of carbon dioxide each year, and we are on track to cross the crucial emissions threshold that is going to cause global temperatures to rise past the 2 degrees Celsius limit, which is a point where many climate scientists have said is kind of that point of no return. It becomes a snowball effect to the point where climate change gets out of control and we all die. That's one of the main points of the Paris Climate Agreement. Not that the U.S. cares about that anymore, but point being here, there is hope, potentially, in the future. The technology is called direct air capture, which basically is like, oh, there's carbon dioxide in the air, just capture the air and take the carbon dioxide out. Sounds pretty simple, right?
Sure.
However, it can be very cost ineffective, very expensive. So direct air capture technologies have been in development for quite some time, but this is the first time that they've actually kicked off a negative emission plant that is carbon negative, which is pretty cool. It works like a tree. That's a very, very simple way of putting it, but the trees suck carbon dioxide out of the air, but it's much more efficient than a tree. To date, all estimates have suggested that direct air capture would be exorbitantly expensive to deploy, but for the past decade, there's been a group of entrepreneurs, partially funded by Bill Gates of Microsoft, Edgar Bronfman Jr. of Warner Music, and the late Gary Comer of Land's End. They've all been working to prove that this might be commercially viable. Because, hey, if we can just suck all the carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, then we can all just burn all the fossil fuels we want, right? It's gotta be awesome.
All you have to do is be a billionaire.
Super sweet. So there are 3 primary companies that have been working on this. There was a 4th, I guess, but they ran out of funding. Switzerland's Climeworks, Canada's Carbon Engineering, and the U.S. has Global Thermostat. And they're all working on building machines that, at reasonable costs, can capture CO2 directly from the air. And on October 11th, which was a while back, but this article's recent. I don't know why they're just dropping the news now. But on October 11th, at a geothermal power plant in Iceland, Climeworks inaugurated the first system that does direct air capture and verifiably achieves negative carbon emissions. This is still a pilot project, so right now in operation it's capturing 50 metric tons of CO2 from the air each year, which is about the same that's emitted by a single U.S. household for the course of a year. So it's a small amount, but it's still a significant amount. And apparently one U.S. household does the same amount of CO2 emissions as 10 Indian households.
I believe it.
Which is...
We're
just pointed up there.
CO2 hogs.
No. We're emitting a lot less.
Oh, we're emitting less.
We're emitting 10 times less than India. But this is advances in efficiency and what we are burning for fuel, I imagine. Anyway, don't want to sidetrack onto that. Cool. This is the first system also that converts these emissions into stone. It takes carbon dioxide out of the air and makes it into stone, which ensures that it doesn't escape back into the atmosphere. And they're showing that if direct air capture can be made cheap enough for there to be commercial interest, then the economics of carbon capture at point sources will likely work. Because right now this is a facility that's specifically designed to do this. But what they're talking about is taking this technology, going to the points where the carbon emissions are coming from, the factories, and creating equipment that can do the removal of the carbon right there, where at the source. And again, more on the article if you guys want to read up on that. Sweet. We're gonna move on though.
I'll be honest. At first, when I read the headline, I thought they were talking about like a vegetation plant that was able to turn carbon dioxide into stone, and I thought that was really trippy. But a power plant makes a lot more sense to me now.
And it's not necessarily a power plant. It's a geothermal site. So they're actually using, I believe it uses geothermal heat to power the process, which probably helps with them being carbon negative.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. I don't have very many notes on this, but if anyone is doing much with augmented reality, virtual reality, there's a new thing here that's described in this inverse.com article, which is virtual wearables. And this, speaking of Ready Player One, it kind of reminded me of like some of that kind of thing. Like Google Glass, people got sick of Google Glass, right? Because everyone walking around with it kind of looked like a douchebag. But the viability of wearing glasses for some sort of augmented reality type thing, seems like it might be kind of cool. Look at this. This is just a tweet.
Like that alone, I'm sold.
Right?
That's it. You can stop the video right there. It's going to get worse from here on out. But just the flip and the thing, the UI popping up, done.
So pull your hand up and you get a little menu.
I'll buy one right now. Pre-ordering.
You can interact with it.
Dude,
and pull it out.
That's it. That's the future. That's the freaking future.
Virtual wearable.
We'll be doing this.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So anyway, that's just.
It's already annoying seeing people on their phones, like with the phones in their hand. Now we won't even be able to see what they're looking at.
Yeah.
That's not even fair. We'll just be watching porn in the elevator, like right next to you. That's super creepy.
There's a.
But you probably will too, so whatever.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, as long as you can't see it, depends if you have the audio on, I guess.
Where your hands are. Yeah.
But yeah, AR, VR. Being able to interact with something that appears on your hand. Like, I don't know if there's any, like if there's a sales.
You know what would be really trippy is if you could use like real world skins or mods. So if you wanted everyone around you to look like an alien, then you could just deploy a mod or a skin, and now all of a sudden you have green skin. Everyone has, everyone looks like I don't know, Iron Man.
They have that
a superhero.
Crap. What's it called? It's a machine learning tool where you can take any video and swap the face out.
Okay.
What's the name of it? I forget. I can't remember.
It's a website, right?
Yeah. I think there's a website where you can go.
Like
I've only read about it. I haven't done it. I haven't looked into it directly, but they're deepfakes. Thank you, chat.
Okay.
I knew chat would.
Deepfakes. There it is.
Yeah, it's the Linus talked about it a little bit. I think Level 1 Techs, they discussed it a little bit there as well. But it's just the idea that the software and machine learning is getting so intelligent that you can take a video, it knows what a person looks like, it knows what a face looks like, it can track, it can automatically pick up with the video and look like, all right, there it is, there's the face. And then it can take it and say, here's someone else's face, and it can be like, all right, swap it out and put that face on that face.
It's freaking insane.
So what you're talking about, and the reason I brought that up is like something like this, like what if you had that software that like, all right, I'm walking around, I want everyone
to be Paul.
to be Paul, right? Or to look like
That would
to
be awesome.
look like Jay or something like that. And suddenly everyone's face looks like that.
Everyone's just a
something like that.
dickhole today for some reason.
It's going to be really confusing if this becomes widespread because you won't know what other people are seeing compared to what you're seeing.
Or what happens if people can now hack it, so someone who robs a bank hacks everyone at the bank to see somebody else's face.
Ah.
And all of a sudden it's
Then they
like,
have-
wow, Jay just robbed
and
the
the
bank.
only-
Jay's like, I was at home,
And the
jerking
only
it.
person who knows the truth is the one who didn't get like the eye implants or whatever. That you had to
Right.
get to
Oh
see
my God.
everything.
Black Mirror next season. That's what it's going to be
Yeah,
about.
yeah, Black Mirror. It's probably
Good Lord. We could write this shit.
virtual wearables coming soon.
Indeed.
A couple things. This was discussed at GDC last week. Leap Motion is involved, and they do a hand tracking software and stuff like that. There's also some discussion of using the hand tracking software from Leap Motion with VR devices like Oculus Rift or Vive, so that you can use just your hands rather than having a controller. Which Leap has actually had. They've been doing that for a while. I imagine, but at this point they've probably expanded on that and made it better in some ways. Moving on.
Cool.
Tech of the day after tomorrow. Anyone here from China? China is. I've only visited mainland China once, but in Shenzhen,
I've been there.
they have surveillance cameras, and they probably have tracked your face and know who you are, Kyle.
Damn it.
They have surveillance cameras that do face tracking and identification that tag people who are jaywalking and stuff like that, and apparently publicly shame them to some degree.
That is so China of them.
But now they've expanded this, and you immediately get a text message that says, "You terrible person, you've jaywalked. Now you're gonna get fined."
A text of like you jaywalking.
Yeah.
It just text you the picture of you.
Yeah, I mean
we
that's what they would do.
Gotcha, bitch.
Pretty much.
Look at you. You're
So-
a terrible person.
This is one of those things. So, I mean, if you look at the narrow scope of this story, it's like, okay, jaywalkers in China are now going to get a text message with their fine. The broader scope here is more in the, like, first off,
It's kind of convenient though, right?
and we don't talk about this much on the show. I know we have people who watch in the U.S. as well as otherwise, but I'm never quite sure how much people in the U.S. are familiar with, or like how familiar people in the U.S. are with, like with China and stuff like that. Sometimes I get varying feedback from people when I talk to them about China, and sometimes people's impression of China is that it's still very agrarian and rural and not very advanced. And then other times I talk to people who are more familiar with what China is doing right now. And China, especially if you go to the big cities, is very advanced in a lot of ways, more advanced than the U.S. And in fact, they have implemented stuff like face tracking technology in different areas, and it seems like they are potentially expanding that. And I don't know, it's just one of those things that is probably going to happen in the U.S. as well. It's probably already happening in the U.S. to some degree in specific areas, like high traffic areas for FBI and that kind of thing. But anyway, I don't want to get into too much speculation beyond that.
I was gonna say, like, that after thinking about it, like, that'd be really convenient to just get like, if you were gonna get a ticket for something, to just get it in a text. Right?
Yeah, it's
Instead
okay,
of like
very
having to
convenient.
like, oh crap, did I like open that piece of mail? Did it get thrown away? Like, just text me, dude, and I'll just pay it on my phone. Like, I think that's a feature.
Or maybe you should just not jaywalk.
That is a feature. And the other thing I agree with is that you shouldn't be jaywalking in China. Because
Oh,
the roads there are freaking nuts. You can jaywalk in California all you want, anywhere in the States pretty much, but don't do it in China. That should be illegal. You should be
one
fined.
of the things I remember about Beijing
You will die.
on my trip there
Mhm.
is there's roses everywhere. All of the main streets in Beijing are lined with just thousands of rose bushes, and they're blooming, and there's like people going along tending them and everything, and it's all clean. Air quality varies depending on the day and everything.
The next day all the roses are
But
dead.
but I was like, holy crap! The rose, like beautiful blooming rose bushes. Anyway, let's move on.
China loves their flowers, man.
One more story to discuss real quick, and this is this still falls into the tech of the day after tomorrow. Gamers Nexus article here about a Bitmain ASIC miner, which potentially has the possible impact on the market of reducing the desire of miners to get gaming GPUs. Now, that's speculative. We don't know if that's the case. Steve, in his article here, was very diligent in making sure he's saying that this may reduce gaming GPU demand, not even going so far as to say reducing prices. But let's just say that when it comes to coin mining, Ethereum has had a significant impact on GPU pricing simply because it is a very popular cryptocurrency to mine. It's effectively mined with GPUs, and it's popular enough that the value has scaled a lot of the time along with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is impractical to mine with anything besides an ASIC farm, a bunch of ASICs. But the fact that there's an ASIC miner for Ethereum could mean that people will now veer towards that instead of GPU mining.
Let's hope so.
This article source is CNBC.com, and it was written by analyst Christopher Rowland, and he slashed the price of AMD and Nvidia stock, or his expected price of AMD and Nvidia stock based on this, because he said, look, if there's another viable option for mining cryptocurrency, then the rate of sales and everything that we've seen with graphics cards should possibly drop as a result. We don't know if there's going to be some sort of replacement for Ethereum that comes out or anything like that. But the market, at least for today, has spoken. It looks like Nvidia is down 18, almost 19 points, about 7.7%, and AMD is down about 4.2%. So, granted, that's the stock market and everything. So, and stock market will often react very quickly to something, whereas the actual result of something might take a little bit longer. But
I'm a noob to the ASIC stuff for mining. Like, is that going to require memory, like video memory? Like, is DDR4 going to be needed for the ASIC at all?
Typically, ASIC solutions you would buy you buy a mining ASIC block, and it's usually a power supply and the processor and or the ASIC and whatever's all included. I know there's people who DIY this type of thing. I've never looked into that, so I don't want to speak on it as far as what's possible. But the ASIC itself is something that needs to be manufactured, and you need a fab in order to do that, and it needs to be designed specifically to efficiently process the workload of something like Ethereum mining. And that's been challenging from my understanding up till now. Ethereum has been very ASIC resistant. But if they can manufacture a chip that's really good at mining Ethereum and does it very efficiently, then the desire for mining with GPUs is going to go out the window, because you're going to have people who are making more money due to better efficiency. And if ASICs start flooding the market and actually increases the total effective mining that's going towards Ethereum in general, it's going to increase the difficulty of it. So it's going to make it less and less effective for you mining with your same graphics card that you've been mining with for the past 6 months or year.
Yeah, I get that.
So,
I just mean if like ASICs still require memory and we're still in a VRAM shortage, it doesn't help us getting more GPUs. Even if the demand for GPUs goes down, if ASICs really take off and they're really great for mining, then it's still going to be pulling from the same pool of memory, and we're still going to see shortages tap into GPUs.
It's still a full system. Memory is still required. I don't know if it uses DDR3 or DDR4 or what, so I'm not sure. But yes, I know some memory would be necessary. But yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Further details perhaps to come in the future. But I did want to end my half of the show by doing some reality checking. I've done a what do graphics card costs segment, and I actually saw earlier today some people tweeting that on eBay you could get like a 1070 or 1070 Ti used for not quite MSRP, but just slightly more than MSRP.
Like $450?
Yeah, so we're just on the, this is just eBay. And I'm just going to go over here to Nvidia and let's grab, let's see what 1070s are going for like right now. This is best match. All right, we need first buy it now. Thank you. And let's sort by lowest price. Let's scroll past all the things that aren't actually graphics cards, but that have been listed in the graphics cards category in the hope of someone being like, oh my gosh,
I really need an SLI bridge.
only $50 for this graphics card? No, it's an SLI bridge, you douchebags. You don't know how to list things in the proper category on eBay. I hate you all.
Wow.
Point being,
Damn, dude.
that one's for parts repair. That doesn't count. That is, please
1070.
read description. Probably also not working. All right, here's a Zotac. Here's a Zotac 8 gig for $435. Now that's not MSRP. MSRP is supposed to be sub 400, but
It's not
that's
outrageous. It's
not outrageous. That's within
That's
40 bucks or so.
Right.
So this is
Tolerable.
This is good.
It is.
I mean, granted, used for less than a week, I guess. I mean, yeah, hey.
I wonder how does everyone just kind of know? Like, what's the process? Like, is it because retailers are now selling it
I don't
cheaper,
know.
and so now that official retailers like Amazon, Newegg are selling them for cheaper, everyone on eBay is like, oh, I have to put mine lower. How does that work? Or does
why-
the resell are these eBay sellers the ones that are sort of
This is why
dictating
I
it
was
initially?
never a product manager at Newegg, because I have no idea how this type of thing is determined.
right? It's like they all kind of knew. Like they all just had this like telepathic, hey, we should all lower our prices.
1070 FE.
Today.
Here is a buy it now GTX 1080 for $550.
Okay, it's pretty solid. a good card
From there it
for
goes
the
up to 600, which is, I mean.
Wait, what is that? What is that? Go
What?
up a gigabyte GTX 1080 XTI sized? I didn't know.
This is not real. This is what?
Look
This
at
is-
that. Like, click on that. Hold on.
Hey.
What the fuck is this?
This is
It
a.
doesn't even have a shroud. It's just one
Wow.
giant ass fan
Wow.
for 600.
This is like
What?
I think Greg from Science Studio does a series where he just goes on and
Finds a weird ass shit.
and
on
basically
eBay.
does what you just did a minute ago. Looks at
What the fuck
looks
is
at listings.
this?
It's like
What the fuck?
how.
That's That's the best.
I hate
It's
this
such a great,
person.
it's a great
Yes.
serious idea.
All right,
He's
so
smart.
hopefully
Seems legit.
GPU prices will come down.
Hopefully.
I mean, there is this theoretical inflection point where suddenly graphics cards suck for mining, when suddenly the market gets flooded with old GPUs, and suddenly you can buy a 1070 for like, well, below $400. I don't know if we're ever gonna hit that. We can hope. We can keep our fingers crossed.
Someone
Maybe,
was saying
maybe.
that GPU is perhaps from an Aorus external GPU enclosure, like one of those GPU docks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That I guess that would make sense.
Which he probably bought for
Yeah, I don't know.
for $500 with the 10s. No. Anyway,
Who knows?
who knows? But all right,
Interesting.
that's all I got for my half. We're gonna
Sweet.
quickly run down some
Q&A.
questions that have been asked. Gonna try to run through these quick.
Scott Delbick, $6.66. Cheers.
Thank you, Scotty.
Cheers to you, Scott.
Cheers.
Thanks, man. Automatic Matt.
Hey, Matty, $5 donation. He says, busy tonight studying for my CCNA 2 exam, so won't be able to catch the show live tonight. I'm
Seems
sorry.
like you're always studying, Matt.
I'm sorry you
That's
missed it,
good.
Matt, but I approve of your diligence.
Indeed.
Stephen Hill, $20 donation, beer money.
Beer money.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thanks, Steven.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, man.
Bazinga X, $20 donation. Any idea if Intel or AMD will be coming out with a CPU that's more than 18 cores or 36 threads this year?
Hard to say, really. There's been
Yeah,
no
I mean,
hints. I would say it's likely, just because they're always trying to push more cores. It's all of a sudden we're core crazed. Intel and AMD are core crazed.
I'm going to disagree with Kyle and say
Okay.
probably not.
Paul's wrong.
I think Intel is going to be satisfied with their 18 core. We have the most 18 cores. And I think Threadripper 2, we're probably going to see Threadripper 2, but I see that being more a faster 16 core than adding more cores to it. Or maybe Threadripper 2 is going to include a 32 core version, since they have that on Epic.
That would be awesome.
That would be super sweet, but we'll have to wait and see. Thank you, Bazinga, though, for your donation. MB67, thank you, Lenticular, for your $13.37 donation. Hey, Paul, here's a Elite donation to help you out. Kyle, you need to work on your premature eruption problems. It's a constant issue.
Hey,
It
man.
happens every week, it seems like.
The wife doesn't mind it, all right?
It just explodes.
Actually,
with
she
just
does.
the lightest grays.
So
Tom's
smart.
Bremsmiths with 50 Norwegian krona. Best start of stream. Thank you, Toms. HGPC Paul. Toms, you're going to be happy with my video I have coming out in just a few days.
Woo!
Kyle, you're not allowed to touch beer anymore except for corked boodles. Boodles.
Boodles.
Corked boodles.
Don't tell me what I can do with my boodles.
Got my boodles.
You leave my boodles out of this.
All right. Tarfeef, $5 Canadian. How salty will chat be that I have 3 GTX 980s, 1 1070, 2 780s, a 1060, a 580, 2 570s, and a 480, and I mine on all of them. Also, Newegg.ca accepts Bitcoin. I don't know how salty chat will be. I hope they're not too salty, because it's not like you have a crazy farm going, and it doesn't seem like you went and like bought a bunch of stock of a single GPU to like oust other people out of it. So I hope you are doing that on a renewable energy source, I guess is what I would say. But thank you for your donation, Tarfeef. Pup Shepherd.
Puppy.
Been very consistent lately. Thank you for your $10 donation. I still think it will be called the 11 series cards. I base this on the current series. It's called the 10 series. Last series was the 9 series and so on. Why would we jump 11 from 11 to 20? Pup, there's a very likelihood that you're right. The why we might jump from 11 to 20 is because 10 to 11 is 1 higher, but 10 to 20 is 10 higher, and a higher number means a better graphics card. That's not true.
Hashtag marketing.
That's hashtag marketing, and that's if they did that, that's why they would do that, is because it gives the impression of like, oh, this big leap in performance or whatever. But thank you, Pup, for your donation. PC Better, $10 donation. Assuming you're using your 7980, what settings do you use in OBS for streaming? Rate control, bitrate, CPU usage preset. I am not using 7980. At my house, I have a 6950X on my streaming system, which is a 10-core, 20-thread processor, and I haven't had to look at the usage or anything because it's a way overkill for what I do with that. Right now, in case you're wondering, we were trying to do 1920 by 1080 at 60 frames per second, and I was going for around 4,000 to 5,000 megabits per second.
Kilobits per second?
Yeah, kilobits, sorry. 4,000 to 5,000 for the Twitch stream, and I was trying to get to 7,000 for the YouTube stream. But because the CPU has to encode both of those at the same time, it's like doing 2 separate workloads.
Yeah.
So
my 6500 was tanked.
Yeah, it was
chop chop.
It was too much. Right now we have been sitting really steady at about 75% usage for this whole stream. So doing a damn fine job. Just had to lower the bitrate down to about 3,000 for Twitch, and we're at about 5,000 on YouTube.
Right.
Des Jones, $5 donation. 3440 by 1440. Is there if there's an $80 difference, should I get a Vega 64 over the 56? Also, the Sapphire 56 is 3 8-pins, but 64 is just 2. What choice should I make? Okay, first of all, Sapphire having more inputs doesn't really make much of a difference. There's not that significant of a difference in the power draw of the specific GPU. That is why they have 3 8-pins. Usually they do that to impress people, or to like set up for some crazy unlocked voltage overclocking experience that most people can't access because you have to have a hacked BIOS, a hacked vBIOS or something to
and
even.
Probably won't give you a ton
that.
more performance anyway.
Yeah, so don't worry about that power.
Same Vega 56, honestly.
$80 difference. Yeah, I mean the 56 isn't that far behind the 64, so $80 difference. Are you looking at like $920 versus $1,000, or are you looking at $450 versus $530?
Yeah, it's more the percentage of the difference, more so than the.
If you're already overpaying, then you might as well overpay a little bit more for the 64. If not, then you're probably okay with an overclocked Vega 56. Okay, Greg Walrath with the $10 donation. Thanks for the great videos. About to embark on building a new Ryzen 2400G system this week. Cool. I wish you the best, Greg. Thank you for your donation. And the 2400G is a really solid choice right now if you're not interested in forking over way too much money for a graphics card.
Indeed.
And it'll hold you over for a while too. So good job there. Thank you, Greg. Gypsy Dog, $5 donation. Paul, I built my first computer with your guide from Newegg TV 7 years ago. Now I work in IT. That's awesome. That's awesome, Gypsy Dog.
Nice.
Like for real awesome. I'm still very proud of those old school Newegg TV how to build a PC videos. I still have this idea in my head I've said this once or twice on other live streams or something, but I have this idea in my head that there's somebody back in the day who learned how to build a PC from one of those videos who's going to go on to do some wonderful thing like, you know, cure cancer or whatever, and basically I'll get to take credit. And hopefully a monetary... you know, get a little... No, I don't...
Just some cancer patient on their deathbed. Thank you, Paul, and just hands you their wallet.
When I hear that somebody has been able to put together a computer, and you know, people use computers for lots of things. So you know, who knows what benefits you'll get out of that in the future. But good job, Pup Shepherd with another $5 donation. Taxi drivers working from home, powered by Nvidia. That would be cool. Drive people around from the comfort of your own home. Possibly. More likely, I see just autonomous driving taking over, but maybe there will be an interim period there. Oh, or possibly what I see is more likely autonomous driving taking over for the most part, but you have like a phone home thing that the autonomous car can do where it's like, I'm in trouble, I don't know what to do. You know, phones home to some central location where they have 20 people or whatever who can jump in and virtually see what's going on, take the wheel, and give a human response or decision-making person.
We're going to Wendy's!
Totally possible.
Yeah.
And also hit up the drive.
That is true. You also need those cars will then need to have a robotic arm so they could actually take the fast food bag out of the window, or you know, take the ticket from the parking parking meter kiosk and stuff like that.
I'm kind of curious to see. I've seen a few things in like San Francisco and other areas where they're doing testings, but like the delivery systems, right? Once the delivery systems have vehicles that are autonomous that don't need a human to ever be in them, like the shrinking down of them. So like what might pull up to your house to deliver a pizza or something like that
might be really small.
Might just be this tiny little thing that pulls up and like pops pizza out and then, you know, goes away or whatever. I'm curious to see in 5, 10, 15 years what that's going to look like.
But see, if it's too small, then it's going to be really easy to steal, and some like guy who's really into pizza is just going to snag that thing.
But then it's got to have this the Wi-Fi and the security built into it. So like if you would steal it, they'd know exactly where it is and they come and hunt you down.
That's why you got to be a fast eater. You got to scarf that pizza down and run, man. Quick. You got to book it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Pup Shepherd. All right, Thievy Chow, $5 donation.
Thievy Chow!
Hey guys, haven't been able to catch you live. The quad case looks super cool, and I didn't know you had a brother named Ryle, Kyle.
It's actually my brother, my identical twin brother. His name's actually Lyle, but he has an accent, so it sounds like Ryle, but it's his name's Lyle.
It's confusing sometimes.
But yeah, he's doing well.
He's a good guy. Giovanni Licamelli, $10 donation. Paul, the company I work for was bought by Ingram Micro recently. No GPUs at my branch, sadly. This is probably a reference to my response to Jay's tweet recently, which is just some scuttlebutt that I have heard, which is that a lot of the lack of GPUs in the market is probably less to do with people going into retail stores or online at places like Newegg going and buying a bunch at the same time. It's probably more likely people who are going directly to the distributors, because there's lots of distributors, Ingram Micro, Cinex, Tech Data, D&H, just some that come to mind. They're very big, they work in the tech industry, and they'll deal in lots of, 20, 50, 100, 1,000 at a time. So you're probably looking at big companies that are going and buying in bulk and sucking up the inventory that would otherwise have been more available to be distributed to retailers like Newegg or Amazon or that kind of thing. And I also don't know if those distributors are also jacking up their prices at the same time. I'm not sure. Anyway, he says, can't decide on a 1080 for the win versus for the win 2. Is the for the win 2 worth it? No. Well, if it's $5 or $10, sure, go for it. If it's more than that, not really. It's still a GTX 1080 in there. It's still going to overclock to about the same.
Cooler's exactly the same.
Cooler is slightly different. The For the Win 2 has the has the ICX, so it's got a PCB with a bunch of thermal.
Oh, right.
The thermal read points on there and everything. So
yeah,
if you're trying to like get a 1080 that you can overclock like to 2040 megahertz versus 2010 megahertz, then yeah, that For the Win 2 might be worth it for you. But honestly, 1080 is a 1080 for the most part, so probably not worth the extra money. Bazinga X, $5 donation. Kyle needs another pie in the face for not wearing his wedding ring.
What?
Where's your wedding ring, Kyle?
I'm allergic to my ring. And I'm not saying that as a joke. I actually am allergic to. I'm allergic to many different types of metal. I have a tungsten ring, and I'm allergic to it. I used to wear a nickel bracelet when I was in elementary school. It was an ID bracelet, had my address and stuff. Had to get rid of that. Necklaces, watches, all that shit gives me a crazy rash. So that's sometimes why when my skin starts to like peel, this is actually 2 or 3 days healed.
That's nasty.
2-3 days ago, like my skin was just peeling. Like I have like a damaged skin ring after wearing the wedding ring for prolonged periods.
It's like you got the plague or something.
I need to get like one made out of bone, or or like
cool.
or like
jade.
Jade would work. Some kind of stone, maybe like a silicone if I'm like, just whatevs.
I also have a tungsten ring. My requirements were that I wanted it to be the same general design as the Ring of Power. But
from Lord of the Rings?
But silver, yes.
Did you get it transcribed inside?
No, it doesn't.
With an LED that glows?
It does not have...
that would have been sweet.
Yes,
Eternal love, bitch.
The words are elvish, but the tongue is that of Mordor. So yeah, it's tungsten, but I like it because the outside of it, it's like scuffed beyond it's very scuffed. The outside of it gets banged around a lot.
It looks loved.
I wash dishes and everything.
Loved ring.
But the inside
is pristine.
It's still pristine. Clean
and your finger keeps it all smooth and
clean and reflective.
Polishes it every day.
Anyway,
it's beautiful.
Okay, what were we talking about? Bazinga X, thank you for your donation.
Thanks.
Derek Parham, $5. Kyle needs to do his Paul impersonation during his half of the show.
Oh, that won't be necessary. I'm sure. I haven't drank enough beer yet.
Need to do more beer?
Yeah, we'll do some
shots. I don't know
if
you've attempted that while I'm here.
No.
What if I was offended? Got super pissed.
I wouldn't care.
All right, wow, there's too many more donations. All right, thank you, all of you. Andrew Schweier, $5 Canadian. Hey guys, sick recent builds. You two forgot to answer my second question last week because beer. What lens do I need for a camera? The lens that I have used that looks really nice
Sigma.
Is not crazy. It's expensive, but it's not crazy expensive.
And it's
and it looks a lot nicer than what it costs. It's $650 to $800.
Talking about the Sigma, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sigma 18 to 35.
It's about 800 on Amazon right now.
Art lens. What do they call it? The
YouTuber lens.
They
call it the YouTuber lens. And the reason why it's a good lens is because even though it's, expensive when it comes to lenses, really relative. They can get so damn pricey.
Yeah.
800 is actually really good for this lens in particular, even if you don't have a huge budget, because it is so versatile. You can literally use it for just such a huge range of shooting environments, whether you're trying to get something up close or more mid-range or even far away.
And it's available with a few different mounts as well. You can get a Canon EF mount. You can get the Nikon mount. I don't know if there's a Sony.
Fun fact, it's the lens we're using right now.
Oh, yeah.
Just if you want a little demo. Looks good, eh?
It's gorgeous. Okay, wait, what's next? Steve Anderson, $5 donation. My girlfriend Laura says if I spend any more money on nerd stuff, she'll leave me. So here's $5 off her debit card. Keep up the great work, guys.
Show her who's boss, Steve.
Laura, ease up. Laura, you have to
let your man buy his toys.
I don't know if Laura's watching right now, but Laura, the trick is you have to get just as into it as he is. And if possible, even more so. And then you'll actually find that he wow, you're a little too into this computer stuff. Maybe I should back off. But
turn the tables.
Steve, I wish you the best in your future relationship. And
I don't think their future relationship is. I think their future relationship's doomed now that he just stole her debit card.
That's true.
And charged it.
Yeah. So run up as many charges as you can, I guess, before it falls apart.
There you go.
Dude was up with $5 donation. How long should you use an AIO before you change it out? I've had my H105 for 3 years and it still works fine. But when should I consider buying a new one?
When it starts performing less.
Yeah. So my experience with AIOs is the pump is usually the thing to go. At least that's what I've experienced. But hey, you've got it 3 years and you're still doing okay. 3 years, honestly, is probably the point where I would start to kind of keep a closer eye on it. Yeah. So listen close. Listen if that pump starts to make a rattle or anything like that. Beyond that, you're probably okay. But just
check your temps and
just keep a monitor up or something like that. I don't see anything too terribly wrong with running that H105 till it dies. as long as you've got some sort of temperature monitoring thing to make sure that if it does die and your temps start to climb up, that you see it, notice it, so you can shut down your computer and swap it out for something else.
Yep. Felix Montalongo, $22.77.
Okay.
Interesting donation amount. Hi, Paul. Like the Quad Stellar vid, and how did the Primo Chill View turn out?
Thank you, Felix, for that. I liked the Quad Stellar video as well, although I did feel slightly bad because I completely blanked that the tempered glass pieces can be removed. They're held on by magnets. It's like, you ever do a video where like you just miss some fundamental thing and you're like, I should have got that. I was like, oh.
Wait, so you thought there were parts of the case that were inaccessible?
No, so each quadrant has a tempered glass panel that sits on top of it. You can look inside and see the quadrant.
Right.
You have to slide the entire like this bent aluminum sleeve like off of each side to actually get in and work with it.
Okay.
But you can also just pop off the tempered glass piece, which gives you some access, but you still can't do everything with removing it. So
you need a combination of both, really.
Some stuff you might be able to do with just the tempered glass piece. Other stuff you might not. Anyway, yeah, but that's just my personal. Primo Chill View in Arctic Panther has completely turned clear, and I'm planning to do a video where I open that up and clear it out and everything. I was actually, Primo Chill recently launched a new product that's meant to be like a loop cleansing product or something like that, like a prep product before you use View. So I was considering about maybe hitting them up to try that out.
The video that Jay uploaded about his View.
I watched that recently.
That kind of scarred me because that's what the coolant that I used in the Elite build. And
was it the gray?
It was the gray. Oh. And the gray is supposed to be not ideal for all that buildup and stuff. So I might have to do a video like that too. I think Jay's just sort of started this trend where anyone who's using a system with View fluid in it is like, oh shit, I gotta like drain this shit out and like take a look at my blocks. I can already see like on my monoblock that there's a bit of buildup there. Yeah. So
I think it's good to have because for the epic water cool builds where you put it all together and fill it up and like do the cool shots with like the water flowing through and it looks really badass, I think it's very, very important to also show the 3 months or 6 months later when you've got to clear it out.
Right.
And what that experience is like as well. Because there is more maintenance involved with a full custom liquid cooling loop.
It's price first.
All right.
Guido Salducci. $5. Guys, I'm rebuilding my computer while watching your live stream. Can't wait for Pimp My PC so I can fix on the fly. Love you guys long time.
All right, Guido, we're doing that on Kyle's half of the show.
Good luck on rebuilding your system.
Thank you very much.
Zero Blade, $5. Kyle, trade me your Asus Vega 64. He doesn't say what for. He just says trade me.
Just trade me.
Just for nothing. I would do that, but I like it, and I'm going to use it, so I probably won't.
Same use.
I'm sorry.
Hai Long,
$5. Kyle, when does we get weekly Pit My PC video? Love from Texas. Good to see you making vids again, Paul. We're with you, man. Thank you very much, Hai Long. From your comment and name, I wouldn't have guessed you were from Texas, but you know, Pit My PC is coming up, probably within the next 20 minutes or so.
Yep.
So stay tuned.
It's going to be exciting.
Shaderade, $5. Love both channels.
I like that name.
I know. Just built my first PC, Ryzen 5 2400G, and Paul, your 5 things to do after video is probably one of the best around for newbies. That is a really good video. And it's got what, 3 million?
It's about 3 million
Almost, like
right
basically,
now.
it's gonna hit 3 million any day.
It's one of like
so freaking insane.
It's one of those videos. Like I'm so happy with it, but of course there's a mistake in it, which is why I did the follow-up video. 3 more things to do with your PC.
But that's good.
But yeah, no, it's a minor mistake and not something that would affect very many people. It's when you're doing Windows 10 installation, if you're booting off of the USB drive, you need to boot off of the USB drive in UEFI mode in order to install Windows 10 in UEFI mode.
Right.
My assumption was it doesn't matter which mode you boot off the USB drive in, because the window. So
did you say it doesn't matter, or you just left that out
I didn't
entirely?
even say it. It's just visually you can see what I did in the video. So if anyone's
see.
following along exactly, if they don't know what they're doing, then they would probably do the exact same thing. In the follow-up video, I explained what it does and how you can tell which way you did the installation.
Right.
And it's not even really a significant difference. Like it's like a 2 5-second difference in startup time.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. But anyway, yeah, I'm glad that video did really well because it's one of those videos I guess no one had really made. And I just kind of
right. Everyone's so focused on the build itself, they forget what about afterwards.
So yeah, I'm glad that helped you out. Des Jones, $5 donation. Hey Kyle, saw your Threadripper build earlier. We'll be using the same motherboard with the water-cooled 1920X and the new white Meshify C.
Ooh, that'll be nice. Yes.
This is the micro ATX Threadripper build.
Yep.
It's pretty sweet.
That's pretty cool. The white Meshify C, that'll look really nice, especially water-cooled and stuff. Good luck on that.
Cool.
It's a great motherboard.
It's nice to have.
Really nice motherboard.
This is a micro version of the Meshify, right?
That's the Define C Mini.
This is the Define C Mini, but there's a micro version of. Is there a micro version?
There is a that's their latest case. I think they launched a couple weeks ago. Was the Meshify C Mini.
Cool. All right.
Meshify Mini.
Tronoxis Gaming, $10 donation. I need a new case. It needs to hold dual or triple CPU radiator, 2 single radiator for both my GTX 1080 Ti hybrid water cooled. Any advice and links? Not the 900D.
Ooh, you need a big case.
Dual or triple CPU radiator and two single radiators for both. All right, so you've got dual 1080 Ti's hybrid water cooled. Tronoxis, I feel like you're a Case Labs contestant. Look at Case Labs.
Yeah.
Their cases are expensive, but you get what you pay for. Their cases are amazing. And they also have very large cases that can fit a huge amount of hardware, especially if you're water cooling. I would point you that direction. It seems like the type of build that would benefit from that type of case.
Yeah, good call.
Okay. Polukadevol. $20 Canadian. Hey guys, finally caught you live. Love the show. Kyle, this donation is for the awesome accent video. The joy it brings is priceless, especially on repeat. Good and apologetically brave on you. Cheers.
Kudos.
I'm also very happy that you donated on my half for Kyle's video.
Yeah.
That's very,
thanks.
That's very kind of you.
Way to go.
I'm always glad when I benefit from Kyle's work. Greg Walrath with another $10 donation. Forgot to ask my question. Paul, when you build in the Define C case, you were concerned about the cooling on the 3.5-inch drives. Did that turn out to be an issue? Did you need an extra fan? I always like to have active cooling on my 3.5-inch drives, but it depends how hard you hit them. I often have 3.5-inch drives that I'm doing video editing off of, which does a lot of read and sometimes write work off of the drives, which can tend to make them a little bit warm, especially if they're stacked close together. So if you just have a 3.5-inch drive that you're throwing in there for like typical storage needs, where like, you know, might be writing a big file to it here and, you know, watching a video off of it there, but not a huge amount of read writes, you're probably fine with no additional cooling. But if you're planning on hitting the drives hard, then I would advise an extra fan.
Where are your drives? Or is it behind the motherboard tray?
What?
In the Define C? Which drive is he talking about? Where was it mounted? Is it like behind the motherboard tray, or is it like
the ones,
in the cage?
Because the Define C, you can mount them like physically behind that piece, right?
Oh, right.
And if they're back there, there's effectively no airflow over them.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Anyway, I hope that helps, Greg. Last donation, Dustin Starman, $10. I built my first PC from Kyle's video on the Ryzen 5 with the MSI Tomahawk motherboard, so thanks much. I love it, but what's the best way to clean my dust filters? Dustin, I like to pull the dust filter out. I actually like a vacuum with like a fuzzy attachment thing on the end, and you can just go right over the dust filter and suck all the dust off of it. And
that works.
Yeah.
I like the compressed air because it's fun.
Compressed air is definitely fun. So,
but also not great for the environment.
Also an option. Okay, we are nearly done. We have some Johnson's shoutouts for people who have ordered stuff from us while we were doing the live show.
Kevin H with a CPU cooler, Heather Navy lightweight hoodie, and a CPU cooler Heather Navy t-shirt.
Lovely.
Kevin.
Greg W. This is the same Greg who I believe did a couple donation comments. Thank you very much, Greg. He got the beer set with the thumb screw, the beer set. So you get the glass and the opener. Thank you so much.
We got a Bitwit Gaming mouse pad and desk mat set goes to Dustin R. Thank you very much, Dustin Johnson.
Awesome.
To you.
Jaden L from Texas got a metallic silver men's black thumb screw t-shirt. Thank you very much for your order, and Johnson to you.
Kieran C for picking up a CPU cooler, Heather Navy lightweight hoodie. Hoodies are selling well. It must be cold in other places besides Southern California right now. Thank you very much.
Rob. Rob.
Bob or Rob?
Well, I mean, often Robs can go by Bob. I don't know. It's
true.
up to you. But Rob.
Rob
Rob R from California. He got the white logo Paul's Hardware shirt. Oh, the classic Paul's Hardware logo shirt. Thank you very much, Rob.
James J. JJ. Awesome Hardware Star Wars Heather Navy t-shirt. Thank you, sir. Johnson.
All right, and Juan L from Indiana got the Black Tri-Blend thumbscrew shirt. Thank you very much, Juan.
Brad W. Got a RIP Gamepad. Yep, you got a RIP Gamepad shirt and a RIP Gamepad. Oh, 2 RIP Gamepad shirts. Thank you, sir.
All right, last one, and this one's actually from earlier today, but I'm shouting it out anyway. Shannon H from Australia. Oh my gosh, all the way from Australia. Thank you, Shannon. Got the Awesome Hardware Star Wars shirt and the the Tri-Blend thumbscrew shirt. Lovely,
Christopher
lovely.
M. ACCM. Thank you very much for picking up an Awesome Hardware Star Wars black t-shirt. Johnson to
Thank
you.
you, Chris. That's
and
all I got.
Finally, Juan. Juan is that a double Johnson? Double
Juan.
Johnson for Juan, picking up a Bitwood Gray logo black Tri-Blend t-shirt.
Lovely.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, thanks all you guys for orders and all that kind of stuff. If you're watching live on Twitch, stay right where you are. We are going to continue and still be live. If you're watching on YouTube, click the link in the video description to go over to Kyle's Half, episode 143-B, and we're going to continue there in just a few moments.
Don't go anywhere because we are just
drink a few
getting
beers.
started.
It's going to be great. In the meantime, if anyone's watching and you're a lovely person and want to help out by watching this episode and doing timestamps for it and posting those in in the comment section, we love you and you're a wonderful person. In the meantime, thank you, Saul, for our moderator for moderating and stuff. I think I saw Spider Fan in there too. Thank you, Spider, for being here. Thanks all you guys for watching today's episode of Awesome Hardware Side A. We're cutting my half and we'll be